Hello and welcome to my November allotment tour on this rather sunny day today. It's a little chilly, but you know what? It's quite a nice autumnal day. So this month the weather's been getting a lot colder and we've had a few more frosts, so things are looking very dead now on the allotment. But I've still got lots of jobs to be doing. I lifted out all of the dahlias from both of the beds and they are currently in pots. I still need to sort of bury them in some dry soil, but they're almost ready to go into their dormancy for winter. I guess I haven't really been on the plot too much with the shorter days now. I mean, the sun sets at about 4:15, so I can't come here after work, and then if I'm not busy at the weekend then I only get a few hours here every week now. So, I'm not getting through the jobs that quickly, but, it's not really bothering me because we've got all winter and I'm just prioritising the sort of life and death. You want to get the bulbs in and the dahlias out. That was the most important thing, really. So, jobs that can wait. I'm not too fast. Now, there is a giveaway winner to announce in this video. And you all guessed last month on the weight of my big trug of veg that was from the Polytunnel, and a lot of you guessed around the 4 kilogram mark, and the actual weight was, I have it written down, 4 kilograms and 61 grams. So congratulations to Roy Savage, who guessed 4 kilograms and 9 grams, which makes you the closest guess. So you've won a selection of, if I don't throw them away, a selection of the seeds that I've grown inside the Polytunnel, including a whole bunch of chilies and tomatoes as well. So if you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, just drop me a message and I'll get them to you. Now, in my trug today I've actually got a few bulbs. I've done quite a lot of shopping last week. There's a home-based store near me and they're actually closing down. So they had a big sale on everything and I picked up some narcissus and some crocus that I'm going to plant into a planter at some point. I did also get a lot of other goodies as well, so I might do a haul video if I get time to show you guys what I've bought, because there is quite a lot of stuff. Oh, another book that I've actually been reading up on a lot this sort of month is my compost book, and it's called Compost: The Natural Way to Make Food for Your Garden, and it's by Ken Thompson. Now, I actually got this from a charity shop, so it probably only cost me £1.50, something like that. And if you love your books and gardening books, you really need to get to your charity shops and car boot sales, things like that, because they are a goldmine for these sort of books. This one in particular is great because it teaches you the benefits of composting and how to build your bin, what to put in it, that kind of thing. So as I start to think about how I'm going to build and change the back of my allotment, I definitely want to build a new compost system. So that's what I've been reading this month. Thank you very much for all your comments asking how work's going. It's going great. I'm building some serious muscles now. We're spreading a lot of manure in the walled garden to get that ready for next year. We've been planting bulbs, planting trees. It's going really well. So thank you for all your comments. Right, well, we don't have much of the day left, so I better show you around the allotment and get a couple of little jobs done. So as we go into the plot in November, all the leaves are definitely going now. You can actually see through to my neighbouring allotment. Now, this doesn't belong to a member of the public. It's actually the heritage display garden that they use for visitors to come and have a look, and there are guided tours and things, and it shows you excuse me, how we've grown veg over the years during the war, the dig for victory and that kind of thing. So I might be able to show you around there one day. My pond, now I don't think I showed you this last month, but it's quite a mess. Now, I don't really think I get many frogs sort of hibernating, slumbering in here over winter because it's so shallow. I think they do that next door. but I am going to tidy a little bit just to get some of these leaves out. You want to try and keep it clean, really. You don't want any decaying things in there, so that's a little job for one day. Now this herb bed is a right old mess, and I think this is an area that I'd like to get tidied for next year. It's definitely a bit wild. Now I dug these out from the ground when I was planting my garlic, and I'm just going to leave them there because I know that the newts and frogs and insects and creatures like dark, cosy places to hide. So, you know, it's important not to be too tidy on your allotment, she says, with a big mess at the back. Just for the wildlife. So that's going to stay there for a bit. And so now we come up to what is now the garlic bed for next year. And there are a few dock leaves that have sprouted up. No sign of the garlic just yet, I don't think. Unless, what's that? No, that's a weed. The strawberries, still the same as they were. That's not a job I'm prioritising, so that's just going to have to wait until I get to it. And again, there's not much change at this side of the plot, so I'm just going to carry on so I can get some of those jobs done. The apple tree has lost all of its leaves, and underneath we've got a lot of forget-me-not that's growing. My hydrangea, that's died back now, has gorgeous dried flowers, so I won't be cutting those. Even the sedum over here is now going over. The wildlife area still looking very wild. I'm a bit torn as to what to do with all this. Yeah, I'm a bit torn as to what to do because I've got a lot of weeds in here that I kind of want to get out, but at the same time I know that the wildlife might appreciate them, and there's a lot of annuals like this cosmos that's just dead. Should probably get rid of that, but I don't really want to disturb the area too much. I might also move some of the forget-me-not from next to the tree over here. So not quite sure what to do over here yet. But yeah, I mean, look at all the cosmos. It looks quite sad compared to how beautiful this area did look in the height of summer. And I've been getting back into photography this year, and I actually studied photography at university, and seeing the decay of the allotment and all these seed heads and flower heads die, it inspired me to get my camera back out. So I've been shooting a lot of all the changes as things die back on the allotment, and it's been really good. They were here last month and they're here again. I still have some sweet peas, and I'm absolutely amazed that this summer flower is still flowering despite the frost that we've had, and it still smells so good. So I'm just going to carry on picking them, and who knows, maybe I'll have some sweet peas on Christmas Day. There's been no progress on the back of the plot yet. That's going to be in a few months' time, I reckon. These bin liners are actually full of leaves. Now, I collect leaves every year to make leaf mould, and I've got about 10 bags here of the ones that were collected from my car park, and I'm also going to be collecting some leaves from work as well. And I really love making leaf mould. It does take a few years to really make a nice crumbly compost, but essentially the easiest way is just to bag them up into these bin liners, poke a few holes in it, make sure they're quite moist if they are dry, and then just leave them for a few years. And then, although you don't want to add it to your compost bin, it doesn't have much nutrition. It makes a very good mulch, and it's great for adding some organic matter to your soil. I personally use leaf mould to mulch my peas and my sweet peas, and that's because even though they like to grow in warm temperatures, their roots, they like to actually have cool roots. So I just make a nice thick layer at the bottom of my peas and sweet peas, and that just helps them going through the hot summer. Over on the table, this is one of my little projects. I picked up this gorgeous sort of, I think it's a ceramic planter pot from Homebase, and they're actually reduced down to £2 in the end, these cyclamen. I've got 6 plants in there, and I've really got a thing for silvery foliage at the minute, and I just think it's going to work really nicely with that grey with the white flowers, and these will be flowering all winter and into spring, so I just think it'll be nice to add a bit of interest on this table here. Over at the back there's not too much change. This big pot, another one that I got in that big sale I was talking about, that's actually going to have a Christmas tree in it when I'm done with it over winter. And this bed at the back, that did have the dahlias in, they've all lifted up now. This bed here is where I sowed my field beans, my green manure. I did that last month, didn't I? And they've only just come out of the ground. So it has been very cold, so they must have been very slow to germinate. And oh no, it looks like a bird has probably seen that and yanked it out of the ground. Oh no, it's pushed itself out. Let's get it back in. Now over on this bed at the back, that's where my potatoes were this year, and I was here yesterday, and what I did was I actually dug out a new path next to the Polytunnel up to the water butt, and I will be filling that with wood chip, but for now I dug it out, I put down some cardboard, and then I layered a weed suppressant membrane on the top and just gave it a bit of a stomp down and then I'll be filling that with wood chip when I get my hands on some. But for the bed in front, I've just sown some more field beans and covered it with a fleece material, and this is just to try and keep the temperature above freezing so that they don't take too long to germinate and grow, which they probably will when you look at how long it's taken these to grow, but hopefully they'll still be up and protecting the soil over winter. I was a bit late getting these ones in, but they should still grow okay. Turning around, all of the beans are done now. My poor ballotties, they've been attacked by the frost and the plant is completely dead. Unfortunately, because I sowed these so late, the early frost got them and they didn't have time to swell, so I don't have any beans inside here to harvest, but you know, it was a risk and I knew that, so I've just sowed them earlier next year so that hopefully I get a good crop. And some of them, look, they look really bad, so you know, you might think that I'd be able to eat the pod, and some of them you probably could, but they're going to be really tough and not very enjoyable, so I'm going to pull the plants out now and get it ready for some manure to go down in the next few weeks. Well, that's looking a lot clearer now. Underneath I still have some beetroot growing, and some of them are still quite small, and there are a couple that I could harvest. So I'm just going to leave these growing in here very slowly over the winter. Some more beetroot on this side, and the spinach still growing, that'll be growing all winter, and some lettuce as well. There's not much change on the winter bed. Still the curly kale, the chard. Oh, the pak choi has just been devoured by slugs. Although that one doesn't look too bad actually. I've not had any yet, so I might harvest one next week. The white beetroot. Let me pull one of these up. Yeah, they haven't grown that big, to be fair, but maybe I didn't thin them out enough. Let me try another one. Oh, there's a robin. I can see you. Anyway, Let's try this white beetroot. Oh, that's a better size. Now this is the albino beetroot because it's white. And I'm going to roast that later on and try that in my dinner. One thing, you won't believe how tame the robins are. If you have an allotment you probably know this, but he's barely a foot away from me. I really want him to eat from my hand one day. I need to get some mealworms. But yeah, he's been following me everywhere over the last few weeks, just digging out the worms from the soil. Hey. So my raised bed, that's actually got lots of tulips in there now, and the dahlias are out, so that's pretty much ready for spring now. I just need to give it some, top it with some manure I think, and yeah, that's all done there. Which takes us to the polytunnel. Yeah, so another one of the jobs that I need to do today is to actually clean out this polytunnel before it gets dark, because all these tomato plants need to come out now, and I need to get it ready for a manure delivery coming soon, hopefully, and I'm just going to layer loads of manure inside the polytunnel. So yeah, a lot of plants and stuff to get out, so I'm going to crack on with this. Oh yeah, the robin, who you might have seen earlier, he actually came into the polytunnel yesterday, and he was a right pain to get rid of because he just wanted to stay inside. You can't blame him though, it's quite warm and toasty in here compared to outside, but I can see him now, he's just over there. It's becoming a nice little friend, so yeah, you'll probably see more of him. So it's not perfectly tidy in here yet, but the plants are out, which is the main thing, and I even got some last tomatoes at the end of November. This is all the spent compost from the chili plants that I was growing, and I'm going to use this to pot up my dahlia tubers, and then they'll stay in my basement over winter. I've got a few more seedlings still on the go. Some beetroot. I'm not sure, whether I should put them in the ground here in the polytunnel. See if I can extend the season a little bit. I've got some lettuce growing. These are, good size now. So I can pick some of these leaves. And this is the Honesty plant. It's a flower, and it's got really nice seed heads. The really round disc type ones. So they'll hopefully flower next year. Down on this side, I've actually got a few chili plants. I'm just running a bit of experiment, I guess, just to see what happens to them over winter, and whether they burst into life or not come spring. I've also got some tiny little foxglove seedlings and some pansies as well. Not sure how well they're going to fare. Need to prick some of those out because they're a bit clustered. So coming out of the polytunnel, here is the view of my plot at the end of November as we head into winter. Oh, it's really starting to get cold now and quite dark as well, so I should probably pack up my things and head home. But thank you for joining me on another tour of my allotment. Next month I'll still be cracking on with lots of jobs and probably harvesting the last of the parsnips to have with Christmas dinner. I'm looking forward to spending some time with my family, and I will be getting more jobs done. I've got a shed to paint, I've got a woodland area to clear, I've got manure to spread, so yeah, I'll still be very busy, so come join me next month and I will see you then.